You're here because you want to get to the heart of things fast without getting buried in jargon, right?
Yeah, nobody has time for that.
So think of this as a shortcut, a deep dive into a really powerful way of thinking. It's usually talked about for, big companies,
Big business, yeah,
but I think it holds some serious keys for personal growth too.
exactly. We're stripping away the corporate speak for a second. We're looking at the actual logic behind that big business success.
And seeing how it applies to, well, everything, your health, your finances, maybe even family.
It's surprisingly versatile,
Hmm.
and we're grounding this in something specific.
Right. An article from Fazioli Publishing. It's called Big Business, Biggest Market plus Biggest Opportunity.
It lays out a neat framework.
And our mission today, to unpack that framework, make it really practical, something you can actually use.
Think of it like your personal strategy session, how to make bigger moves in the areas you care about.
Okay, let's get started then. When we say big business in this context, it's not just about huge corporations, is it?
No, not at all. It's a mindset, an approach focused on scale,
Yeah.
on having a real impact, and on growing consistently, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And the core of it, according to the article, seems to be these two ideas: biggest market
Which means the people who genuinely need or want something.
and the biggest opportunity.
Right, that gap you can fill, the problem you can solve, maybe a trend you can jump on.
And the real power comes when those two line up.
That's the sweet spot the article points to. Connect a big group of people with a clear solution to a major problem or need.
And that's where you get that exponential growth.
Exactly. Strategic positioning, where there's demand and a way to make a difference.
Okay, let's break that down. Biggest market. Easy enough in business customers.
Okay.
But how does that translate personally?
Well, think about the markets in your own life, the main areas. For health, for instance.
Sure.
What's the biggest market there?
Me, my own body and mind.
Precisely. They're your most critical assets, right? Everything else depends on them.
Makes total sense. Okay, so if that's the market, what about the biggest opportunity for health? In business, it's the unmet need.
Yeah, and personally, the article suggests a few things. One is just a mindset shift, viewing health not as fixing problems, but as an investment.
An investment in future capability.
Then there's leveraging what's available, all the tech, the information.
Fitness apps, wearables, personalized nutrition, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Using those tools. And finally, identifying those core scalable habits.
Scalable. You mean things you can do consistently that have a big payoff.
Right. Daily exercise, mindfulness, good nutrition, the foundational stuff that gives you the best, most lasting return. It's not about miracle cures.
It's about building that sustainable base.
Okay, got it. Let's pivot to wealth. Where are the biggest markets for building financial security?
The article points towards areas with, well, a lot of activity, where money is flowing, high demand, potential for growth, scalability.
So industries on the rise.
Pretty much, where there's significant economic energy you can potentially tap into. And the biggest opportunities within that landscape, what does that look like?
Could be investing in those growth sectors, like you
Yeah.
said, tech, renewables, e-commerce, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Or positioning yourself as a problem solver within those markets,
Yeah.
maybe as an entrepreneur, or just bringing valuable skills.
Right.
And crucially, using financial tools effectively, things
Yeah.
like, compound interest or creating passive income streams.
So your money works harder for you, essentially.
Yeah, making growth more efficient, less tied to your direct hour-by-hour effort.
So find where the money's moving, then find smart ways to participate. Okay. What about knowledge, personal development? Where's the biggest market there?
The article suggests looking at fields changing rapidly or areas where expertise is maybe lacking or underdeveloped.
Like emerging tech, AI, or maybe sustainability skills.
Exactly, where new skills and insights are becoming really valuable.
And the biggest opportunities for someone wanting to learn and stay relevant.
Well, first, actively acquiring those in-demand skills. You mentioned AI, data analysis, maybe even complex communication skills for a global world.
Being proactive about learning.
Definitely. Also, becoming good at curating information, making sense of it all for yourself or others.
Like a knowledge filter.
Kind of, yeah. And maybe the biggest thing is just cultivating that mindset of constant learning, adaptability.
Because things change so fast. You can't just learn one thing and be done.
Never. It's about the capacity to keep learning.
Makes sense. Targeting learning strategically. Now, personal finance, it's related to wealth, obviously, but more about daily habits. Where's the biggest market for improvement there?
This is interesting. The article sort of hints that the biggest market might be where most people mess up.
Oh, like common mistakes.
Yeah. Think about debt management
Mm.
or saving enough for retirement. These are huge, widespread challenges.
So the common problems are the market and the biggest opportunities.
They lie in strategies to avoid those pitfalls,
Mm.
like automating savings and investments. Takes the
Yeah.
emotion out of it.
Set it and forget it.
To an extent, yeah. Also, educating yourself.
Yeah.
Understanding basics like taxes, different investment options.
Financial literacy.
Absolutely. And building a buffer,
Yeah.
a safety net. That gives you security, but also allows you to take smart risks later.
Building resilience.
Yeah.
Okay. So address the common weak spots with deliberate action. Now, the article also mentions family. That feels a bit different. How does big business thinking apply there? Market.
The article frames your inner circle, your closest relationships, as your most crucial market.
Your core stakeholders, maybe?
In a way, yes.
Mm.
They provide that deep support, belonging, fulfillment, your primary customer base in life, if you will.
Okay. And the biggest opportunities for like strengthening those family bonds.
It boils down to intentional investment, quality time, real communication, openness.
Putting in the effort.
Yes.
Yeah.
And aligning on shared goals,
Mhm.
financial, emotional, whatever they might be, working together.
Safe vision.
And thinking longer term, building a legacy, values, knowledge, traditions to pass down, fostering a strong family ecosystem.
That's actually a really powerful way to think about it. Intentional effort in those core relationships. Okay, finally, let's swing back to actual business. Launching something, growing it. Where's the biggest market typically found?
Usually it's an underserved group or an unmet need. Where are the gaps? Who's being ignored by current options?
Finding the hole in the market.
Pretty much.
And the biggest opportunity for an entrepreneur.
Identifying those high demand areas. Right now, that could be sustainable products, maybe digital transformation tools for other businesses, specialized personal development.
Things people clearly want or need.
Right. And leveraging technology is huge. Social media, e-commerce, automation to scale your reach.
Using tech to grow beyond your immediate vicinity.
Exactly. And of course, innovation. Having a unique value proposition. What makes you different? Why choose you? That's always key.
Okay, so we've seen how this framework, biggest market, biggest opportunity, can be applied across, well, almost everything. Now, for you listening, how do you actually start spotting these things in your own life? The article gives some pointers, right?
It does. First step, pay attention to trends. Actively look. What's growing? What tech is emerging? What societal shifts are happening?
Like AI, remote work, clean energy, health optimization, those examples from the article.
Yeah. Ask yourself, what trends are you seeing in your work, your hobbies, the news?
Just be more aware. Okay, what's next?
Identify pain points. What are people always complaining about? What frustrates you?
That list could be long.
Maybe. But the article makes a great point. Big opportunities often come from solving those overlooked, nagging problems.
Yeah.
What are the common struggles?
Solving problems equals opportunity. Got it.
Third step.
Leverage your strengths. What are you naturally good at? What unique skills or experiences do you have?
Play to your advantages. Exactly. Focus on where your unique abilities can meet a need. Carve out your niche based on what makes you different. What are your core strengths?
And the final piece of advice for finding these?
Think globally. Act locally. The suggestion is to start small. Tackle a problem you see in your immediate community or network.
Test it out locally first.
Yeah, prove the concept.
Yeah.
Then, if it works, figure out how to scale it outwards to a bigger market.
Start tangible, then think bigger. The article had a good example of this whole equation, didn't it? The fitness app one.
Oh yeah, that was clear. Someone loves fitness.
Yeah.
That's the passion. They see the biggest market as busy professionals who can't find time to exercise.
A very common problem.
Right. So the biggest opportunity is creating something for them. An app with short, effective workouts, maybe meal plans, tailored to their limited time.
So passion meets a big market, meets a specific solution.
And boom, you potentially have something with mass appeal, solving a real pain point. It directly answers that need.
And the article really pushes the listener,
Yep.
you, to apply that same equation to your own interests.
Precisely. Take that formula, biggest market plus biggest opportunity, potential impact, and ask yourself, where can I apply this? Where does a big need intersect with what I can offer?
So wrapping this up, the main takeaway is clear. This big business way of thinking isn't just for boardrooms.
Not at all. It's a practical tool. Anyone listening can use it to drive real growth in health, wealth, knowledge, relationships, wherever it matters to you,
It's about consciously looking for those big needs, those big markets.
and aligning them thoughtfully with the biggest opportunities where your unique talents can provide a solution. That's where the transformation happens.
The article's call to action is pretty direct. Start small, think big, and act boldly.
Yeah, take the first step, but keep the larger vision. And don't be afraid to move when opportunity knocks.
And it leaves us and you with that big question. What's your big opportunity?
It really is something to reflect on, isn't it? It shifts the focus from just goals to, well, where your efforts can meet real-world needs.
So finding and going after your big opportunity, it's not just about personal success.
Maybe not just that. It's about aligning yourself with what the world actually needs or desires. And that could lead to much more meaningful, impactful outcomes for you and maybe for others too.